one more time. Hey yo, and welcome to my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. Before we get started, I'm recruiting beta readers for my short story, Not For Her. It's a story about a shady man trying to do the right things for mostly selfish reasons. If this sounds at all interesting, you can check out more information on my website, samanthalnasset.com/beta. Since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I figured I'd start the month off with discussing writer-parent guilt. Whoo-wee! Fun for all! Little warning, this video might get a little bit heavy. There's a very fun little predicament that a lot of writing parents find themselves in. I'm supposed to be sitting there working on writing, but I can't focus because I'm thinking, shouldn't I be parenting? Do I need to be reading to my kids? What if they need my help with something? Are they gonna look back on this time later in their lives and only remember me at the computer typing away? Flip the scene. It's time to feed the kids. The house has been quiet for more than 2 seconds. Surely I would have had time to get some writing done right now, right? When was the last time I looked at my outline? 2 more scenarios. The first one, it's the end of a highly productive writing day. I got tons of work done. But my husband was the one who took care of the kids all day. So now the voices are sitting there saying, why didn't you play with your kids at all? Why didn't you help with bath time? You know you missed out on all of those little moments today. Flip the scene again. It's the end of a day where I didn't get any writing done, but I got all of the momming done. Played with the kids, took them outside, was a boss at bath time. They were fed multiple times that day, but I'm exhausted and sitting at the laptop staring at my document. I can't muster the energy to reread and remember what I wrote, let alone think of new words. And the overwhelming dread sits there whispering to me, I'll never make it as a writer if I can't even do 10 words a day. This aggravating cycle is what I like to call writer-parent guilt. If I'm not momming, I'm being a bad mom. If I'm not writing, I'm being a bad writer. It doesn't help when I go days or even weeks without being able to sit down and write. By the time I'm questioning my abilities or if I can even make it as a writer at all. The cycle feeds into itself anytime I tried and still try to do both at the same time to the point of exhaustion. But why? And good question. I can only explain this from my perspective and the reasons I feel this way, but hopefully this can offer perspective and maybe even make other parents who feel this way feel a little less alone in this. Society has standards for parents, but they are drastically different standards depending on who you talk to. Don't let your kids have any technology before they're 10, but also, they're growing up in an age of technology, so expose them to it as young as possible. Kids should be constantly entertained. Get all of the craft materials, all of the art supplies, everything. Take them everywhere. But actually, they have recently figured out that that's a bad idea and that boredom's actually really good for creativity and helping kids kind of learn to deal with boredom. Writing communities are shockingly no different at all. Take your time, write your novel whenever you can. After all, you can publish at any age. There's no real rush. But also, you've been taking months to just write your outline. You're not working on your novel every day. Which, on the point about outlines, I don't actually think taking months to do an outline is bad, especially if your life is hectic or other people depend on you. But for me, I know that if nobody else depended on me, my outline would probably be done by now. And that adds to the cycle of writer guilt. On the one side, I live with this constant fear that I'm not doing enough as a mother. that no matter what, I'm not fully preparing my children for everything. And there's a shit ton out there to prepare them for. On the other hand, I'm facing the reality that my novel is going to take years. It took me 4 years to be able to work on my writing career again. All of these feelings and more insecurities just mixed together, feeding on themselves until sometimes it's hard to believe that I can do either of these roles, let alone do justice to both of them. And they are both roles that I have wanted as far back as I can remember. It's easy to look at the logic, right? Writing's not gonna happen unless I make time to write. And sometimes that means not being the one to take care of the kids. Sometimes that means not being as present while they snuggle next to me watching Netflix or whatever and I'm typing away at the computer. Logic says that I'm a parent. My kids come first, and that's a lot of work. This wasn't surprising to me or anything. I knew what I was in for when I made this commitment. So it's okay to put them before my writing. Emotionally, emotions can be simultaneously amazing and stupid. I could be sitting there feeling so shitty and bad and guilty because I'm editing a video last minute for the 3rd week in a row because I had been dedicating my weekends to working on painting and redoing my son's room. But then he sits down beside me and like magic, he just looks up at me and says, "I love my new room, Mommy," and I'm ready to cry. On the same day that I start off feeling like a failure as a mother and a writer because, well, it's Tuesday, I'll get feedback from my critique partner on a short story that leaves me giggling and feeling great. And then I'll look over at my kids who are peacefully coloring or playing Minecraft together and think, we're doing a good job as parents, we're doing all right. Writer-parent guilt is a tiny demon that strives to take the joy out of 2 of my favorite roles in life by convincing me that by doing one, I am failing at the other. And fuck if it doesn't do a damn good job of it sometimes. But I am a bitch who loves to fight back. How, one may ask? First of all, you're doing a great job. Parenting is hard as fuck, and writing as a career is also hard as fuck. And you, my badass, are doing both. The following isn't going to work for everybody, unfortunately, and age of kids is also going to play a factor into this, but here's some of the tips and tricks that I've figured out to help me cope with all of this. Sometimes I compromise time by working while I'm spending time with the kids. They have a variety of options. They can watch a movie or play video games. They can sit at the table and draw. The other day, they made little books while I was revising one of my stories. The downside to this is I'm not fully present for either my work or them. But it is an option for when they need immediate mommy time and I have a deadline coming up. I know when I watch tip videos or read tip articles, find time to write is one of the emotional banes of my existence. Unfortunately, finding dedicated time to write and dedicated time for kids is just good advice in general, which is much easier to do once they are older, or if you have a spouse or somebody who can take over taking care of them for a while. For example, my husband takes over the parenting so that I can work on my writing. This is especially helpful and I get a lot done during, say, vacations or pandemics. As I have stated in previous videos, finding time to write as a parent is not always easy. So continue to write what you can, when you can. Every word down is a word that you didn't have before. Having friends who get it is awesome. Unfortunately, I've only had 2 writer-parent friends and I don't talk to one of them anymore. However, what I do have that is so important for me is several friends who not only listen to whatever I need to tell them without judgment, but are also willing to reassure me that I'm doing a great job with both writing and parenting. And I really appreciate that validation. Yes, I am almost 30 and sitting here telling the world that I need other people to pat me on the head and tell me that I'm doing a good job. I have no shame here. This validation helps me fight my bitchy demons. Once a week or once a day, take time to just appreciate you. If you're a parent, you kept your kids alive today. Way to go, good job, you did it. If you're not a parent and you're still watching this far into the video, thank you, love ya. I love my Cleverfox Planner, especially this section right here, which is where I write an affirmation, something I'm grateful for, and something I'm excited about every morning, which really helps put me in a more positive mood for the start of my day. And when I'm feeling really down or like I haven't gotten a lot done, I just look back at the previous days and see all the things that I have accomplished. And you know what? Fuck, I do a lot. It's kind of like a hybrid between a planner and a journal. Not to mention it has 2 different sections for work and for personal to-do list, which really helps with juggling parent and writer tasks. Unfortunately, this is all I've been able to come up with to deal with writer-parent guilt. It's still something that I deal with on a weekly, sometimes daily basis. However, the good news is now that the kids are older, it doesn't happen nearly as often as it did before, and it's a lot easier to juggle both roles. Our oldest is only 8, so my hope is that when they get even older, it might go away entirely. If you also have writer-parent guilt and you have any suggestions for things that work for you, I would love to hear about them in the comments down below. Alright everyone, that's all I got for you this week. I'm still hosting live streams on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and co-hosting with Savvy, Doll, and Lauren on Savvy Writes Books at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember folks, if you're curious about whether or not I can write, my website is samanthaalnasset.com. And if you'd like to stalk me on my social medias, you can find me at Samantha L. Nasset on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram. If you'd like to beta for Not For Her, information is in the link down below and the URL somewhere. If you enjoyed this video, maybe give it a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I make new videos every Wednesday. Next week, I'm talking beta readers. Hope to see you soon. Sam out. Right. Yes. Can I help you? Yeah, can I help you? Oh, you're good take, despite you and the camera's best efforts. Yes, huh? I see you lurking. I saw your shadow.
I didn't shut up.
I just saw your shadow.